Now we're going to talk about how to solve root equations, equations that have radicals. And we have this, what's called the principle of powers, and it says if a equals b, then a to the n equals b to the n. And all that really means is if you have two things that are equal to each other, then if you raise them both to the same power, they have to be equal to each other. Okay, so it means when we want to solve something, we can take it to the power, both sides of the same power, and that's allowed. Okay, so first we want to solve the square root of 2x minus 7 equals 1. And to solve that, we really kind of need to get rid of that root sign, or at least get the x out from under it. Now, the inverse of the square root is x squared, meaning if you square a square root, the square root goes away. So what we want to do is square both sides. When you square the left-hand side, a square root times itself squared, the square root goes away, we just get 2x minus 7. On the right-hand side, when we do 1 squared, we just get 1. Now this is a very easy thing to solve. We'll add 7 to both sides. So we'll have 2x equals 8. And we'll divide both sides by 2. So we get x equals 4. Now, when we're squaring things, we have to be careful about what are called extraneous solutions. And we'll talk about those in the next video a little bit. But all that really means is we do want to check our solutions to make sure they actually work. Sometimes we'll solve and we'll get a number, but it won't actually work in the original equation. So here, if we plug it in, we want to know is the square root of 2 times 4 minus 7 equal to 1. Well, that would be the square root of 8 minus 7, which would be the square root of 1, which 1 is equal to 1. Okay, so our solution here would be x equals 4. Okay, let's try one more here. We have the cube root of 4x minus 1 equals negative 2. Now, to get rid of a cube root, we need to cube both sides. So whatever the index is, this is the index. When there's not one, we just assume that it's 2. We have the square root. But whenever we put a number there, we're taking the cube root or the 4th root or the 5th root or whatever root. We want to raise both sides to that power. So we're going to cube this side and cube this side. So when you cube a cube root, you just get the radicand. What's underneath? 4x minus 1 equals negative 2 cubed would be negative 8. Okay, so we're going to add 1 to both sides. So we get 4x equals negative 7. We would divide both sides by 4. So we get x equals negative 7 over 4. Okay, and if we want to check that, we'd say is the cube root of 4 times negative 7 over 4 minus 1 equal to negative 2. Well, here we'd have the cube root, the 4's would cancel out, so we'd have negative 7 minus 1, which would be the cube root of negative 8, which is equal to negative 2. So our solution here is x equals negative 7 over 4.